everyone, this is Michelle Kane from Michelle Kane Actions, and on this video tutorial it's going to be a continuation of the edit that I began in a previous video. In that video it was about enhancing lip shape and color, and so we will skip that portion of this edit since there's an entire video dedicated to that. Please check the link for that in the information below this video if you're watching on YouTube, or search for it on my videos if you're on my website. So we're trying to achieve this overall look, and again, let's go back to the very beginning of this edit. Here's a straight out of camera picture, and basically I again showed you how to do the lips inside of that other video tutorial, so we'll skip that. And the next thing we're going to do is just move on to cleaning up the skin and smoothing out the skin surface. So you can see in the layers palette here I have a specialty curve that I've created, and what I'm trying to do, and I'm going to zoom in pretty tight to this face right here, is there's kind of a dark makeup spot here where the foundation just got a little bit thick and orange, and so really I'm just looking to kind of tone that specifically down, and I can also kind of see it just kind of right in this area right here. So we're going to do a special curves as opposed to trying to just smooth it out with a skin smoothing tool or action. We're going to remove some of that color and take it down. So I'm actually going to just take these other layers that have been completed and dump them into the trash, and we'll just keep our lips layer here. So again, there was our lips before, and here's our lips after, and let's start with the curves adjustment to fix that skin. So we're going to do just a regular curves here, and the adjustment that I'm going to create is number one, I want to brighten it, and this is just kind of picking the center of the curve and pulling it up. And we also want to take some of the yellow out of it, so I'm going to the blue channel and I'm going to increase the blue just a little bit. And we can finagle these particular settings after we've painted it on. So we're seeing this effect everywhere. Let's go ahead and up that blue just a little bit more. Let's go ahead and invert this layer mask, Command or Control I, and then with a white brush, probably a low opacity of maybe about 20%, and I'm going to make it a very soft brush. I'll just begin to kind of paint this on to her skin right here where we see that foundation kind of caked up there a little bit, and then right down here where I saw it on the nose. So something along those lines, and if I go too far in any one direction, I just switch the color of my brush to black and brush it off. So now let's take a look at that before and after. Before it had quite a bit of yellowy foundation, and now we've eliminated that. And I'll just come through here, and actually I'm going to get a 10% opacity brush, and just kind of where I see it's a little yellow right here by her eyes, just kind of scanning the picture where it might be a little extra yellow. We'll just sort of brush it over really, really lightly and call it good. So again, before and after, it really helps. Now if you need to go back into your curve and maybe take the brightness of it down just a little bit, you can grab that RGB line and pull it down, and now it's not quite as bright as it was before. So a lot better. The next thing I want to do is just overall clean up spots. Freckles, moles, pimples, all those kinds of things need to be cleared out with the spot healing brush or the clone brush tool. So I'm going to merge these. Merge it is an action in the Heart and Soul set, and it'll give us a nice fresh pixel layer to work on. So once we have that done, I'm just going to click my clone stamp or not this clone stamp, I'm sorry, my spot healing brush tool. And I love this brush, and I love the patch tool brush as well. These are great ones. So the spot healing tool is really smart. You can just go along, pick the spot, click it, and it intelligently reads the area around where you're clicking, and it removes the line, the blemish, the thing you're trying to get out of there. And so I'll just go around and kind of click this, and I may not be as careful in this video about cleaning every little thing or making it absolutely perfect just for time's sake. But of course, when you go through your edits, you'll be a lot more careful and thorough and make sure that everything gets out of there properly. So I'm just coming along, and if I screw up or do something wrong, I can always just backtrack. I'm just kind of trying to fix up that lip line just a little bit. Command or Control Z will undo your last step, so if you mess up, you can always undo it. There's a little bit of crease line right here in her eye makeup, so I'm just gonna, I don't like how that one went. I'm gonna make my brush real thin and just go right along there. Perfect. Kind of took that out of there. And some of these spots right down here. Just normal skin spots, but I just want to kind of minimize them. I'm thinking that's looking pretty good. Let's see. All right. I'm going to go ahead and grab my patch tool, and this is great because it will sample the texture around it. So I'm just going to grab this area right here that might have a little bit of hair texture, and I'm just going to drag it up to a place that doesn't have that texture and see if I can. Oops, I've got my brush set to transparent. I don't want that. Make sure that that transparent is not on. Let's try this one more time. There we go, perfect. And now we've got rid of that little bit of lip hair that was there before. Alright, so let's click this little layer on and off. You can see we've just easily and quickly removed all of those spots. So that's nice and perfect. And I'm going to shift through, pick my spot healing brush tool and just get this one little spot out of there. So I'm going to name this layer Spot Heal. And the next thing I'm going to do is smooth the skin. So the action that I like to use is called Flawless Face, again from the Heart and Soul collection. And Flawless Face takes just a minute to run. I've said this a million times in other videos past, but make sure you run Flawless Face on an 8-bit image. If you're running 16-bit images, it might take forever to run. So if you're running into any issues with it being very slow, make sure you have your image set to 8-bit. So once I have that gone and run, I'm going to pick about a 40% opacity brush and just begin to brush in with a white brush over her skin. And I'm going to show you a little trick here in a minute to get back some of the extra detail. We're talking about pores, and basically it's leaving some noise and some detail into the skin so it doesn't look plastic. It looks smooth but realistic. And I also shot this photo at a very shallow depth of field, so there's going to be portions of the face that are more sharp than other portions. Whatever was on the same plane as her eye is going to be basically in focus, and it might be softer in other areas. So as I run this along, I'm going to also run it along her eye makeup. Sometimes I do that just to smooth it in and make it blend a little bit nicer. So once I've pretty much run this over all of her skin, I'm going to run it just lightly over her lips as well with about a 20% opacity brush. I just kind of like the softness it gives to them. We're going to open up this Flawless Face folder here, and subtle details I'm going to amp up all the way to 100%, and then I'm going to duplicate that layer, Command or Control J, and we're going to pull this layer down, and watch her skin as I inch it up. It starts to bring back a lot of the detail, the pores, and that kind of thing. So if you want to bring that detail back, especially in a guy, if you're losing facial hair and that kind of thing, you can always duplicate the subtle details layer and then set the opacity wherever you need it. So I'm going to go somewhere on the second layer around 42, 40, somewhere in there. So now let's click this off, and we can see how we got her skin nice and creamy smooth. Looks pretty good. So let's go back again to the beginning and then to where we are now. So the next step is to kind of give an overall creamy finish to the picture to her skin and to everywhere else in the picture. And just as I zoom out, I can see that there are a couple chest freckles and things like that. You could have taken those out with a spot healing brush too. And I can still go back to that layer, because the beauty of not flattening your layers is that you can go back and get rid of things later and use layers that you used previously. It'll make bigger files as you're editing, but I like that flexibility of being able to go back to the layers that I did maybe steps and steps and steps ago. So again, creaming out the skin, making it have like a really nice overall tone. There's a couple of actions in the Heart and Soul collection that I really love, and one of them is called Radiance and one is called Euphoria. Radiance is going to have more pink in it, Euphoria is going to have more yellow. So I'm going to play both and show you. So Radiance will go first, and as it plays, actually I'm going to drag it up above my flawless face here. As it plays 100%, I don't like this look at all, just like this, but if we open it up and we turn off the Radiance, the punch layer, let's see, Radiance punch, and we turn off the pure radiance like that, then we have a little bit nicer of a look. So we just kind of inch that up just a little bit, and then it's not so pinkish. We just make our skin take out some of the existing pink that was in there, and then we make it nice and clean and soft looking. Now if you go back in there and you turn the radiance on, again you can see it introduces that pink into the picture. So you know, as your temperature colors will vary from my temperature colors on my photos, you might want to play with that pure radiance layer there and see what works better for you. So this is pure radiance here. Maybe we'll keep it on, but we'll just take it down a little bit, maybe in like the 45% range. So again, radiance, I took out the punch. There's with the punch on. Of course, you could leave it or take it, whichever works better for your pictures. And then the overall group layer I've taken down to 40%. Again, if we amp it all the way up, it looks one way. If we start to take it down slowly, it looks another way. So let's turn this radiance off and I'll show you Euphoria. So Euphoria is going to have, again, a lot of yellows in it, and the things that I might switch inside of Euphoria might be to take off the warm glow if maybe that adds too much of a pink tone in there for you. You just really probably need to go through the layers inside of it and see what they do, see if you want those layers, or see if you want to take some of them off or turn some of them down. Maybe with this warm glow layer we'll just take it down and then take Euphoria, the entire grouping, and bring it down just a little bit. So let's look at without Euphoria and with Euphoria. It makes her skin just have this nice peachy kind of glow. There's with Radiance. Again, we can adjust the opacity of Radiance or Euphoria, and you can always combine them together as well if you like them both. Maybe you like them both but just at lower opacity, so that when they combine you get that perfect soft peachy kind of skin tone. And I think that's what we'll do here. We'll put Radiance at about 30 and we'll put Euphoria at about 20, somewhere in there. So two actions that I love for skin, Euphoria and Radiance. The next thing we want to work on are the eyes, and I want to play an action called Sparkle, and that's in the Heart and Soul set. And so basically I'm looking to just sharpen up the iris of the eyes just a little bit. And we'll zoom in to her eye. And basically Sparkle is hidden underneath this layer mask here, so I'm just going to grab a 50% opacity soft brush and begin to bring in some of that sharpness on her eyelash and the iris of her eye. Sparkle's probably my favorite go-to for sharpening up eyes. So eyes and the smile or the facial expression are the two most important thing in a portrait, I think. Let's turn the sparkle on and off. You can see how that starts to bring in some more detail to the eyes. And then we're going to play Eye-Citement. And Eye-Citement is in the Heart and Soul set in the digital makeup. And that's just basically going to go on the iris again and the lashes. And this is just going to give us a little bit of boost of color, contrast pop, make her eyes feel just a little bit more dramatic. And we're going for a dramatic look on this particular picture. So drama's okay. And you can just add in or take out as much drama as you want on your particular photos. So once I start to play things and paint it in, I like to zoom it out and just kind of look at it as a whole and see if I've gone way over the edge, if I need to take some of it out or add some of it in. Just like bring the slider back and forth from 100% to 0, you can kind of see what we're getting from eye segment. I think I'm going to take some of it out over here on this other eye, just because it was a little too intense. And I think I'll drop some of this opacity down just a little bit, about 82%. All right, we're going to go ahead and darken up those eyebrows and just kind of give her a little bit of an eyeliner boost and an eyebrow boost. So just a darkening action, a simple darkening action, DIY dark. Do it yourself dark so you could paint it in where you need it. And with a very low opacity brush, again, I'm just going to start to come in here and shape and define her eyebrow a little bit more. And I'll come along her eye line. I'm just giving her a little bit more definition here. And again, I use those low opacity brushes so that I can bring my effects in slowly. I'm going on the very outer edge of her iris here. Is there anywhere else I want to? I don't think there's anywhere else. But as I'm looking, this little stray hair keeps catching my eyeball right here. So I'm going to go back to that spot healing layer. And with a spot healing brush tool, I'm just going to zip that right out of there because it's just driving me a little bit nuts. Okay, perfect. And actually I see one over here too. All right, quick little easy way to get rid of stray hairs, spot healing brush tool. All right, we'll go back up to this DIY dark and I'm just going to click it on and off. And you can see as I darkened up her eyebrows and I darkened up her eyelash line that things got just a little bit more dramatic. Okay, now DIY light. DIY light, we're just going to play and we're going to selectively bring in a little bit of extra light on the iris here. Alright, so grabbing a white brush, and I got a 20% opacity brush, I'm just going to brighten up some of this iris here, some on the other side. If there's anywhere else I want to brighten, maybe right up underneath her eyebrow, I can do that. And now click it on and off so I can see the changes that it's created. If it's gone too far, again, I can just take my black brush and remove some of the effect. Alright, so we got her eyes looking really nice now, her skin looking nice again. Here's our before, and here's where we are right now. So we pretty much have everything on the skin completed. The only last thing I want to do regarding skin is to just kind of even out the temperature of her skin. So we got down here on her chest, a lot of times that'll be a lot lighter than the skin because the makeup gets the skin and the chest usually doesn't. So there's a lot more yellow and warmer tones in her skin up here. And I'm just going to bring that down with Beautiful Warmth. Beautiful Warmth is a tone in the Creative Heart set. And once Beautiful Warmth plays, I'll invert that layer mask, Command-I, Control-I on a PC, and we'll start to paint it in with a soft white brush. So again, just bringing some of those yellow tones from up above down below. Kind of evening things out just a little bit. And I actually want to bring just a little bit of this up here too. So I've got literally a 10% opacity brush, and I'm just going to warm up her skin just a tiny little ounce. So I'm bringing this beautiful full warmth up above as well. She was just looking a little bit peaked there. Alright, so we've got the entire skin finished out now. I'm going to work on the background. So you can tell the background was shot on a gray seamless paper, just very blah, very brownish gray. And I want to take that gray and I want to make it blue. So I'm just going to play Peppermint. And Peppermint's a color tone in the Botanical blend set. And once Peppermint plays, you're going to see everything's going to turn very, very blue. And really what we want Peppermint for, again, is the background. It's not her. If you wanted a cool, funky effect, of course, you could leave this on her as well. But I'm going to come in here and make sure that I've got the layers that I want selected. Maybe we want to make it more green, or I just like to click these layers and make sure that I have exactly what I want with these different layers. And I think I do. Peppermint plays at 55% opacity, so I'm going to invert this layer mask once again. And I will begin to bring Peppermint in with the soft opacity brush over the picture. And as I get closer to her, I can just right click with my brush and make my brush a little bit harder. The other way you can do it is leave it everywhere on the picture and then mask it off of her. That might have been an easier way actually than what I've got going on right now. So this might take just a few minutes to accomplish here. And I just switch the opacity of my brush as I need to, making it softer, making it more intense color as I need to. You can see this is completely transforming the color of the background. Take the hardness down so we can kind of fade her. And if a little bit of that blue light falls on her shoulders, that's totally okay, because if you think about it, if you got a blue light reflecting in the background, it will reflect blue onto the person or onto their clothing. I just don't want to reflect this too much on her skin, if at all. So as I go through here, just start to bring it in. And again, for the sake of the video, please don't judge if it's absolutely not perfect. I'm just trying to go a little faster than I maybe normally would, just to get the video done. But you'll be a lot more careful on your pictures when you start to mask these colors in. You can also make a quick mask selection if that helps. You know, select her, make a selection of her with your wand or whatever other selection tool you like to use, and then use that as your mask if you're so inclined. Okay, so again, not absolutely perfect for the sake of time with this video, but I think you get the point of bringing in the color. There we go. So the next thing I want to do is just give it a little bit of boost in the overall picture. This is obviously optional. So I'm going to play Spicy from the Botanical blends. And Spicy is an overall punch, boost, clarity kind of action. And you can tell it really makes things extremely punchy. And I just want to take this whole thing and basically leave it on the background for the most part and take it off of her. Now there is a sharpening layer inside of Spicy, a clarity layer, so I'm going to take that clarity off. I don't want to introduce any more noise or anything like that into the picture, which I'm going to address in a second. But Spicy, let's invert that layer mask, Command or Control I, and so we can see without Spicy and with Spicy. And actually I think what we'll do is we'll leave it on there, the whole thing, but we'll brush it off of her. So I'm going to get my 50% opacity brush and just kind of barely come in here and start to zing this off of her. If we leave some of it on her skin, some of her eye, on her eyes, that's fine. If we want to make them a little bit more dramatic, Spicy will definitely help to do that with the contrast boost. So just selectively removing it. Sometimes when you're adding in effects, you just kind of have to decide what's going to be easier. Is masking the effect out easier or masking the effect in easier? And the great thing about layer masks is you can just invert them and go either way. So basically we had the effect everywhere of spicy, and then I just masked it off of her. I can take this effect down and make it not so intense, so maybe somewhere around 40% here. There we go. So the next thing I want to do, and this will be the last step, is going to be to take out some of the noise in the picture. It's extremely noisy in the background. Well, not extremely noisy, but it's definitely noisy in the background. And I mean, you could definitely blur it, but I found that noise wear is probably your best option when you want to remove noise. So we're going to end up doing that here. So we need a layer, a pixel layer to do that on. So I'm going to again just merge everything. You could flatten it at this point. You could play merge it again. We've got our pixel layer here, and we're just going to go into filter and noise wear. And you're going to play probably with your presets a little bit. Basically, I have it set to the full stronger noise reduction because I'm looking to smooth out the background. I'm not really going to have much of this at all on her skin, so smoothing out the background is fine. I like how they have their presets. I generally stick with the presets and don't do a whole lot of changes, to be honest with you, in noise wear. So I'm going to say OK, and noise wear will do its thing and it will smooth out the noise in the picture. And then all we need to do is add just a regular layer mask and a black brush to cover up noise wear and bring back all of these great details in her skin, in her eyes. Actually, I'm going to leave the noise wear down here on her shirt. But we'll take it off of her skin. And you can see the corresponding layer mask over in the layers palette, how it's blacked out where noise wear is covered up. Alright, so let's look back at the beginning, before and after. Again, if you don't like the peppermint color on the background, you definitely don't have to have that peppermint color. I just wanted to make it blue and funky and show you a way to colorize your backgrounds. The only other thing, if her hair was getting annoying, I'm just going to show you one little layer one little liquefy tool. So we're going to get another background layer, or duplicated background layer. So basically, again, I just merged it, and we're just going to be messing with her hair. So I'm going to make a quick selection with my marquee tool of her hair so we don't pick the whole picture. And we'll go to filter and liquefy. So sometimes if you got flyaway hairs, blown away hairs, if you're accidentally you know, get some wind blow that you don't want in there, you can always take your liquefy tool and bring some of these hairs down. So I'm just reshaping her hair just a little bit. And again, I mentioned the liquefy tool in the lip video, but I will do a video specifically on the liquefy tool as well. So you want to basically take the center of this circle of the warp tool, and it's the forward warp tool, and you're taking the center of it, goes on the edge of whatever you're moving, and you just push it in. So once you've got your hairs kind of where you want them to be, you'll see up here that I've got the transparency showing through, but that's going to be okay because you're just going to see the blue from the layers below it as I show you here. Let's go ahead and turn this on and off. You don't even notice where that transparency was, but at least it takes her hair down just a little bit and gets those crazy shapes under control. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I used actions from Michelle Kane Heart and Soul, Creative Heart, and the Botanical Blend Set. Euphoria and Radiance are two of the ones that I really love for skin. Obviously, Flawless Face is an indispensable skin smoothing tool. And then selectively brightening, darkening, doing eyesight and sparkle for the eyes, evening out skin tone, giving some even color with beautiful warmth, changing the color of the background layer with peppermint, And then of course the tools that are just there for you in Photoshop. Spot healing tool, the liquify tool, and the curves adjustment. Seems like a lot, but we have a really dramatic before and after, and I think it's worth it. Thanks for watching, everybody. You can learn more about my Photoshop actions at michellecanephotography.com, and have a blessed day.